Hey, hello everybody. Welcome to another stream about ZBrush and jewelry. So my name is Nacho Riesco and I will talk about what I said before about ZBrush and jewelry. So let me know if everything is working fine on your side, if my voice sounds good, and the music is not too loud, all of those kind of things that I always say during all of my streams, because I'm not sure if everything is working fine. Hey Fexter, how are you? You are always the first. I have to give you a prize, I think, for that, or bring the first person always to say hello. Welcome. I really appreciate that you are here. And let's see, everything is working fine on my side before I start working. Let's see, because today is a strange day, because maybe you can see here, this is the progress I was making the past week about this brooch. Today I have noticed that I didn't have the file I was working the past week, so I had to make it this what you are watching now from scratch 10 minutes or 20 minutes before. So we're gonna start from maybe a little bit different, but okay, no, I think it is not a big issue, because we were making just the blocking of the main shapes on the previous stream. So I have tried to make as more progress as I can today, 20 minutes before, as I said. But let's get it started from this point to start refining the shapes and start adding more elements. Okay. I don't know what happens with the file, but I didn't find it. I still don't find it. Maybe I didn't save it. I don't know what I did, but I lost it. But no problem. We can make it again. Okay, let me check the chat if everything is working fine. Hello, Arturo. Death in Flesh. Hey man, how are you? I'm fine. Welcome, Arturo Martin from Mexico. Fexter. It is all perfect. Perfect. Yeah, but never, the knowledge is never enough. So you can be learning more and more till the end of times, you know. Okay, so let's start. As I always say, this is what I'm going to make today. I started this design on the previous week, so I'm gonna try to make more progress and as more as I can. Today is not going to be finished, of course. Maybe I'm going to need the next streaming, maybe, or next streaming after the next streaming, I don't know. But anyway, if you have any other questions related to any other themes, so don't hesitate to send your comments on your question. I'm going to try to pay as more attention as possible to the chat as usual, because I like to be here talking with you, and not just sculpting and working. So send your questions, your comments. So I think that the streaming will be more fun if we talk about different things, of course, maybe related to ZBrush or related to jewelry designs. But anyway, if you have any other question related to any other kind of workflows or techniques, so don't hesitate, as I said before, to send your questions. I will be more than glad to answer all of your questions, or at least to try to answer you. Okay, I'm gonna, maybe the music on my side is a bit too loud. Let's see, like this. Camera is not good. Okay, well, my face is not the most important. Okay, let's go ahead. So I'm gonna follow making a more progress with this design. As you can see here, I only have different subtools. Each of the subtool is one of the different branches, for example, on this side, the head, the wings, and so on. So we can work in tweaking this a little bit, but I'm gonna be more worried today about to make a solid piece, saying solid, to try to create a ready for printing and for casting piece. And this is the reason why I'm going to make this. I was making this the other day because this cube. I was using this cube as a template. If you go to the Z plugin, to the Scale Master plugin, and you click set the scene, this is around 22 by 22 by 6.5 millimeter thick. That means that I am making a 22 brooch. Maybe it's a little small. Maybe I decided the other day to make it 22 millimeter wide from left to right, and maybe it's going to be very small. Maybe I can go, will be better to go from 22 to 25. Will be better. You know how to do this. So if I select this subtool, if we go to the Scale Master, if we have this button active, that means that changing the measurements of only one subtool, we are gonna change all of the other according to the new measurement. So let's say from 22 to 25, and let's click on resize subtool. So ZBrush will go through each individual subtool, and now the cube is 25 millimeter wide, and it is now 7.3 millimeter thick, maybe 7 point, yeah, maybe, I think, yeah, it's good enough. Maybe we can stay, instead of 7 millimeter. Okay, let's leave it like this. We can change this measurement as a maximum height of the maximum thickness of the piece, from the bottom part to the highest point from this view. So if we go, let's see, instead of 7.3, let's say 7.5, because I don't want to make a very thick, a very bold piece. So now it's going to be necessary to turn this off, because I only want to change the Z-axis, and turn this off, of course, because now I only want to change the size of the cube of the template. So let's kick it like this, and now it is 6.5 and precise subtool. Let's push it back like this. We turn on the transparency. Now we have, I forgot to open my, what is it here, this application to start drawing on the screen. So I say that from the back side to the maximum thickness, this is going to be 6.5 millimeters thick, and it's going to be, but I'm taking the measurement with my caliper here to know that I am making a realistic piece, not too thick. Okay, let's go. This is going to be my template. So now I'm going to make, I'm gonna put this on the top. I'm going to turn this off to start making booleans, and I make a duplicate. I'm gonna put it at the bottom of the list. I'm gonna push it to the left like this. Let's make it wider. This, and let's turn on the negative for the booleans, and let's turn on the boolean. So this is what I'm having. So I'm going to start adjusting the thicknesses. I'm gonna select them, the wing. The wing is just as I have the piece that I have here for the wing. Of course, we still need to make the feathers, but to start building the design, having in mind that this is going to be a kind of brooch or something. So it is not possible to have everything floated on the air, so we should be start thinking about how to start building the different elements, to start connecting each other to try to get a good casting, because I have in mind to cast this in only one piece. I don't going to split it into different parts, so I'm gonna try to make it, to print it and cast it on in one piece. So this is going to be the back, the lowest part of the wing. This is going to be this part of the wing maybe has to be a little bit more on front. This is going to be the neck. Come on, yeah, and this is going to be like this. Push it back. Yes, my name is Nacho, like the food. Nacho, from the real, from Spain, or the people who speak Spanish, you know, if we say Nacho, we are saying Ignacio. It's the name who comes from another name. So my real name is Ignacio instead, but everybody calls me Nacho. Okay, it's a very common name here in Spain. Okay, let's see, like this. Maybe we can make this thing a little bit thicker. I'm gonna grab the half back, push it back, because not that thick. Maybe we can make it thinner, because if we want to know how thick is this, you know, you can switch from the gizmo to the transpose line, and now we can start taking measurements from left to right. So now we have here, you can read it here on the top left corner, 1.9 millimeter. So maybe on a screen it could looks very thick, but in reality we are just talking about 2 millimeters. So maybe 2 millimeters is a realistic measurement. And I'm gonna push this back as well. And let's see what happened with this wing. Maybe the wing can go more, we can bend it like this. Don't leave it just straight, so we can Thank you, Bob Lord. So, and ask whatever you need about what I'm doing, or what you consider tricks, or I just call it my way of working. I can give you my opinion about how to make the things. But maybe here for the neck I need more polygons. Maybe we can go to the series measure. This is my preference settings for the series measure. I prefer to go from the default 50 to 0. And now I'm going to turn on double because I'm looking for more polygons. So click on series measure. And now maybe I'm gonna grab this brush. I'm gonna start making this. Maybe now I need more polygons. And let's add more thickness here on the top of the wing. Move and back face mask to add thickness. And you can see here, I was doing this on the previous stream. How I did this piece, the base just for the wing. You can see how weird the topology is because I was using this brush, the curved tri-field brush, you know that you can create crazy forms just drawing curves, and now you have geometry in the middle of the curve. So, but the topology that this brush gives you, it's topology based on triangles. Maybe that's the reason why it is called curve tri-fill, because it's the behavior of the brush is filling the curve with triangles. So, but doesn't matter because we can now I already have polygroups. I don't want to lose them, so I'm gonna turn this on, adjust this setting again, and now looking for the double amount of polygons, so now we can start from a more regular mesh just using the series method. Andrew Sneakers, that's cool, didn't know that. By the way, the guy above said, oh, yeah, but I say hi in Korean, okay. Nice to know it. And yeah, most of the work that I do is always related for jewelry design. Maybe I can say about the 80% of the job that I'm doing is for jewelry. So making rings, pendants, brooches, or relief for coins, medals, pendants. But I prefer to talk about 3D printing. Yes, all the stuff that I am doing goes directly to the 3D printer. Doesn't matter if it's going to be from the 3D printing to the casting process, so you can create from the 3D printers to the casting process in resin or in metal. But I prefer to talk about digital sculpting, because today we can create with ZBrush almost everything, and you are able to send it to the printer or to the, for example, or to a CNC machine, milling machine, who are very common in jewelry industry. You can send to the reality what you are having on the screen. But yeah, most of the job that I do is related for jewelry design. So maybe the head is too thick because this sticks too much. And maybe I'm gonna try to make a more compensated, more balanced organization of the different subtools. Because before I start making any detailing or any sculpting process, I prefer to leave everything in place, because everything is working fine. You can see on the back side, maybe I can make this weird kind of wires a little bit thicker too. Like this. I'm going to make this thicker. I'm gonna try to make something similar from the reference, but I don't have the mind to make an exact replica what I am having here. And let's say I'm gonna put the stones as well. That's gonna make this thicker. One very good habit that you can have when you're sculpting things for 3D printing, doesn't matter if you are creating jewelry or you are creating any other stuff or figures or I don't know, any other kind of thing. It's very important during the sculpting process to have in mind the real measurements of the product, of the design that you are doing. It's not just a matter of sculpt something beautiful on the screen, but you should be thinking during the process about thicknesses, distances, and of course, if we talk about jewelry, you should be thinking about weight. So, but that's the reason why I try to don't leave things too thin, easy to break, or hard to print, or hard to cast. So that's the reason why now is the moment to start checking those kind of things, because you can see this curve from the front view works well, but if I want to know how thick is this, if we go here and we take the measurement from left to right, now we are making a piece of material that it is 0.7 millimeters. It's less than a 1 millimeter, so that's in sense. So we can make it thicker. How thick we can do it. So maybe the rule that I have, try to get to be closer to 1 millimeter, and now I start reducing the thicknesses as more as you can to save weight and to save material. But try to stay around between 0.6 or 0.8 millimeter as minimum thickness. Now this is 1.1 millimeter, so now it has sense. And now we can send it back. And this gonna like this. Okay. Maybe the wing should go behind the head. Now here, as you can see, I am touching the limits. And maybe we can call this piece, the neck cap, the back wing, it's a one piece. So let's blend them together, because if not, from the back side it's going to look a bit ugly. And a very important part of the jewelry design is the back part of the design. It's just a matter to have a beautiful piece from the front, so you should be aware about the back part too. So for example, let's make this thing a little bit thicker. Okay, now I'm trying to take good decisions instead of, as I said before, as thicknesses and so on, but they're not going to be definitive. So during the designing process, maybe I can change some of the ideas, but to have a good starting point, it's good to have in mind the measurements when you are designing or when you are sculpting. Andrew Sneaker, can you recommend beginner 3D printer? I want to get into 3D printing and heard that Creality Ender 3 is good. That today there are so many printers that I haven't got a huge knowledge about any individual printer, but maybe Creality for Ender. Maybe when you are talking about the filament printer, or it is a resin printer, or from a crane. Yeah, I recommend the CR10. It is a CR10 is another printer. But if we are talking about what we are doing, remember that I'm creating a 25 millimeter piece. So if you want to start creating jewelry, the filament printers are not the better decision that you can take. Maybe we should go for more expensive printers. Of course, if you are thinking about to start printing any other kind of things, not so tiny things that we used to create when we talk about jewelry designs, you can use a filament printer. But my background about filament printers are zero. I haven't got any knowledge about filament printers. My knowledge comes more from resin printers or wax printers, which are the most common machines that you can find on the jewelry industry for professional purposes, of course. Okay, let's follow tweaking things here. Let's create this. Make this thicker. Let's clay build up. I prefer to remove the alpha, just my personal taste. And let's carve in a little bit here, because maybe the next step, just for start combining different things, not just being here making the same thing during the whole streaming. So maybe a good decision is going to start working on the feathers. Maybe could be interesting for you. I like to make wings with feathers. It takes a lot of time. So maybe, okay, let's grab the stone. I have here one stone. Just a simple cut, diamond cut. Let's bring it into the subtool list. Let's insert diamond Where are you? No, here you are. So we can put it here on the mouth. It is going to be this. I'm still thinking that the head is maybe is, we can change a bit, maybe the angle like this. And let's say we can change a little bit the angle based on the drawing. Of course, now the head is just a reference. We can cut out this part a little bit. It's just I only have this piece just for use it as a reference. Of course, once we are happy with the overall composition, it's going to be necessary to start making the definitive head. Maybe this is too thick. But now what I am doing is taking decision about, as I said before, as composition, weight, measurements, and things like this. So now once everything works well as a composition, it's going to be time to start refining shapes, start adding details, and so on. Okay, let's save it. Okay, I'm gonna start. This is how big the stone is. If you go to the Z plugin, Scale Master, now it is. Now we're working with a 2mm stone. Maybe it's too small, but the stone size will depend on the available stones that you have, or the available stones that you can find on your supplier, the kind of the stone that you want to make. But here, maybe having 2mm stone, maybe it's going to be too small. You know, of course, as smaller it is, will be cheaper. But if we put here a crystal or a zircon, we are not going to need to spend a lot of money. But let's say instead of 2, let's turn this on. Let's work with a 3mm. And looks better with this size. And I'm going to create the basket, just for not the definitive, because as I said before, I just created the composition. How can we create depending on the kind of stone setting that you want to make? Maybe here it looks like a basket kind of setting with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 prongs. Maybe we can select another one. But now, as what we need now, it's to know, because we can be living there, the stone floating on the air. I can select, for example, this brush, insert primitives. I can grab the cylinder. I can put it in the middle. Let's split it. Let's push this. This is going to be, should be smaller there. It should be as thick as it covers the whole stone. But you can see here now, what I'm watching here is, for example, if I can use this wire or this swirl or this element to hold the stone setting on from the back. Could be, as I said before, a basket or a vessel, depending on the kind of stone setting that we decide to make. And what we need to create, for example, maybe we're going to be necessary to tweak a little bit the head, angle of the head, put it here, because here we can create a hidden control or soldering point to make the stone setting safer, because we are going to have one contact point here, we are going to have another contact point here, and we're going to have a third contact point here at the bottom of the jaw, on top of the mouth. So yeah, something like this. So for now, this is the reason why it's important to put everything in place. Even this could be a little bit thicker. How thick is going to be the definitive, and now it's too soon to know it, but we know that we have enough room and enough distance here to start creating a contact point on the back like this. Because the good about the start creating designs, jewelry designs, or at least my point of view, my opinion is like just leaving the elements is with free spaces between each other to have the feeling that they are floating in the air. We are creating a light thing. We are not creating a very solid thing. So like this looks like the stone is floating on the air, or even is this kind of bird or dragon is holding the stones with its mouth, but in reality we are holding the stones with this wire that is on the back. Right. I know what you mean. So let's see, let's go for the wings. My way of sculpting wings, of creating wings, is to start creating the wings feather by feather, one by one. Yeah. Good. Maybe it's becoming darker today. Let's turn the light like this. And I'm gonna start creating the feathers. Let's carve in. Let's make a bit of a space for the feathers. There are different ways to create feathers in ZBrush. Maybe one of the most simplest ways of making them is with cylinders. For example, grab a cylinder. I already have here the image attached to the floor to get it as a reference. For example, I'm gonna start creating this row of feathers. I'm gonna put here a cylinder, split max points. Let's select the right angle. Let's put it like this. Let's make it thinner. Very useful feature inside of the gizmo is the taper. Now we can taper the wing, the feather, sorry. And now we already have a feather. So we can rotate it like this. I'm gonna change the topology because this kind of topology is hard to sculpt or to control. But for keeping different polygroups, so I'm gonna use this feature, groups by normals. And now I can go to the series measure, keeping the groups active, double, and now we have. And even we can apply some polishing. Not yet. Let's leave it like this. And let's put it on place. Let's select the right angle, more or less, like this. And now you know that using this feature, when you're creating feathers, is very important, the angle. This. Because when we are stacking a row of feathers, it's going to be very important to have this kind of profile where this is one feather, this is another feather, this is another feather, to have this kind of stepping here at the end of each feather. And for that purpose, it's very important to select the right angle before I start copying the different feathers. So now we can preset gizmo position, select the angle, and now you know, pressing the Ctrl key and using any of the arrows, you can start creating different copies. So now this is going to be a little bit smaller. We can change the shape if we want. Now it's time to do it. So we can create something like this. Again, Control, drag. Control, drag. This. So now we'll start creating. We can now select this. And now let's select the latest one, now with the control, and we can create a quick mask here. Let's make it smaller. This is going to be, this is this one, like this. Now we have here another one. It's another completely, a little different shape. And now we have to change the angle here for this one. It should go on top of the previous one. And now we can create here a new one, new one, and the latest one. It's going to be thinner. And now we have pieces, a row of feathers like this. Maybe they should go a little bit more like this, like this, like this. Okay. So let's select, for example, this one. And let's create a new row of feathers like this. This is going to be this one. Let's create another one here, smaller. And now it's a matter of start copying, moving, till getting the effect of. I prefer to make them one by one, to don't make them very repetitive. In my opinion, looks more real instead of using, for example, a curve brush. When you are drawing a row of feathers, but all of them looks the same, I prefer to start making like this one by one. Let's copy this. Let's make a new one for this one. It's more just a matter to have control on the gizmo. This has to be longer. Like this. Maybe I can use now one of the smallers. This one. Let's copy. Another one. And another one. This is going to be the latest, more or less. No, the latest could be this one. Now start looking good from the front view. And now very important thing to control, to make now, is because if we want to start tweaking the position of each individual feather, you should turn this on, the topological feature inside of ZBrush. Is going to be very handy now to start moving the feathers individually, one by one. it's time to start tweaking the front view. Now you can use the Alt key to start pulling, pushing back, pull or push the feathers. Just with any of the move brushes you can use, you can create this movement with the Alt key. Now maybe they are too like this. Maybe we can rotate them from this view. Now it's time to start checking how they works from the sides. Maybe it looks good at the moment. Yeah, let's look at this, and now we can turn off the topological. We can start tweak all of them. Let's grab this one. Let's create a new one here. Longer. Let's push it back here. No. This should go on top of this one. Like this. Maybe the angle it should be more like this. This is going to be on top. Topological again. To start tweaking this feathers individually. Okay, now it's fine. Let's select this one again. Now, and let's make another copy. And like this. Maybe this one has to be a little bit bigger, like this, and like this. Now getting the right arc here. And now we are start getting more or less the final composition, the wing. This. No, it is not. Okay, as I said on my previous stream, because I'm a big fan of the brooches from the Victorian century, maybe the brooches that you can find on the Art Nouveau style or even Art Deco, more than Art Nouveau, Art Deco, but maybe could looks like than one of the brooches that I made in the past. But the idea is try to explain something similar. Yes, you are right. But the main reason I trend to go to make brooches, as I said on my previous stream, because I find them more creative. So I can add more sculptural elements. I can play with bigger sizes than a ring or another element. So I like to create brooches. But yeah, it could be something similar that a brooch that I made in the past, a griffin brooch. I made it in the past, yeah. Let's now select the back face to start adding. Now I have the back face active to start adding more thickness to some feathers. This four looks too repetitive. Let's play around a little bit with the angles. Let's play with this, and let's play with the back plate, or let's hide this on the back. Now let's make this one, for example, bigger. You want to make one feathers more pointy, you can turn this on, IQ curve, so you can start making, you can change, you can go from a curve ending to a more pointy ending like this. This should happen on the bigger wings. Now here the back face, and now we are start getting this, so we can add more geometry here. No, let's subdivide and let's double. So what was the topological button? You press it. All about it. Yeah, the topological button. This button, you can find this button here. You go to the brush menu. I gonna grab it here. The brush menu. Now you can go to what is it? Auto masking, and you will find it here. So what it does is, for example, I am using this brush, the Move Infinitive brush. So without the topological feature active, I'm gonna be able to move all the feathers at the same time. No, without the back face, of course. I can move them around, all of them together, because it's just for example, to start tracking the placement or all the proportions. It's a good idea. But if you want to start tweaking any individual feather, so now if you turn this on, ZBrush will recognize that you are touching individual meshes, so you're going to be able to start playing with any of the feathers individually to start tweaking the composition, the shape, the placement, and things like this. So when you are creating wings with feathers, this is going to be very, very useful. Or when you are creating, when you have a mesh composed by different meshes. So this is going to be very, very useful. I'm going to create a copy of this one, place it here, like this. I'm going to create a copy of this one. I'm going to create it here. So we'll start getting the right, maybe using the base mesh, you can go to clay build up and start carving here more, making more room for the feathers. And I can use this brush to start creating this kind of fold it has here, shorter lacy radius to start creating more this kind of finishing, edge polish to start creating a plane here. Of course, the most important view here when we are creating a brooch or a pendant is going to be the front view, but we should be checking all of the breast views during this creation process to know that everything is working from all angles. Maybe what I am seeing here, maybe the wing is too far from the back. Maybe I can push it back a little bit to don't make it too thick, and the same with the feathers. If not, we're going to create a very thick area there on the design. And now once you have all of the feathers in place, it has this kind of, I have found something. I'm going to create a mask here with a lasso. Like this, blur mask. I'm going to lift it a little bit don't forget to use the masks for sculpting. Yes. Yeah. We can make it thinner with a pinch brush or pinching this area. Now we can, now the feather, this feather goes more from the front to the back, and maybe we can hide this section. And now we can pinch a little bit this this border, this, sometimes I don't find the right word in English, excuse me. No, this side or profile, I know I have the word in Spanish in my mind, but I don't find the translation. It's kind of sharp border, rich. I don't know which is the right word. So now it looks fine. Maybe the arc, I don't like it. Maybe I'm gonna create a wider arc here. The crease, yeah. When you are having a sharp border, when for example you have a cube, what do you call of the, not the faces, you know, with the corners of the angle, you have 90 degrees for with each face. So this kind of fold or sharp fold, or I don't know. So now we are creating, even if we try to create a circular design, to start creating more or less the same distances from the center, maybe try to have an equal distance from top to bottom, from left to right. Or to check this, a good tool, it's the floor tool. If I am gonna turn off the image, you will find the settings of the floor on the draw menu. If I turn this off, let's make it bigger. And you can see you can, with here you can control. What I do is I turn on all of the axes. Let's change the elevation from -1 to 0. No, 9, no, to 0. There you go. Let's fill mode to 1. And now here we are having more or less a kind of template. And now what I'm reading here, you can see this is the, from here to here is more or less is balanced, because I already have a kind of branch here for reaching the bottom part. And maybe I can push up this a little bit more to reaching. Now the feathers without the topological. Now we are having a good composition. Now let's push this in a little bit. Okay, now I know that the design is balanced, because I want to keep a circular composition. Let's save it. It looks like a Game of Thrones. Yeah, medieval, maybe from the medieval ages, the jewelry were more simple, maybe not so intricate or so detailed. I mean, it's maybe it could be more modern than the age of the Game of Thrones. Maybe, I know, it's my opinion. But this is the main reason I like to create this kind of jewelry, what we call in the jewelry industry is a kind of organic jewelry, because the jewelry is related for when you are using animals or nature as an inspiration. You are creating jewelry of animals, flowers, plants, or any other kind of anatomy. Organic jewelry designs based on nature. And the thing that I like the most about this kind of jewelry, because it looks like smaller sculptures or just tiny figures, representation of animals and flowers or animals. So I think we already have the wings in place. So what we can do now is change the topology as I was squeezing, pulling and pushing the topology till matching the shapes I want. So now maybe it's a good moment to go to the series measure, keeping the same settings as before, keep groups, and adding more polygons. So now we have a more regular. Now maybe we can apply some polishing. The feathers becomes rounder, more organical. And I can be being here tweaking the feathers, still getting. Another thing that I do for correct feathers, this is the main purpose I keep the polygroup is this. Now we have here a lot of polygroups. I'm gonna regroup them. Gonna select rectangle. So I'm gonna shift control. I'm gonna select all of the front polygroups. You, and you. Invert Control W to create one polygroup. And now what I do is start shrinking the mesh. So we go to the next row or the next column or loop of polygroups. Let's shrink them again. So now let's create a mask. Control tape on the canvas. Now we have a mask. Now Control Shift and tap to have everything visible again. So invert the mask, grow the mask, and now you can see I have the whole group of feathers mask less a portion of the front. So now what I can do is with the gizmo, with the control key to inflate, you can inflate it negative to the inside. So we are going to start making the shapes of the feathers concave. So we went from this shape to this shape. The interesting thing about this is having these little raised borders that gives you the feeling of more realistic feathers, or at least what I see, but I like to create the feathers. Anarch Yes, this looks like, yeah. Will this be handcrafted in the jewel industry? Today, maybe not. Oh. There are many people who are creating these pieces, this kind of pieces of jewelry by hand. Okay, I make it with my hands. I'm using another tool, but I am using my hand as well. But anyway, so maybe the process was to start sculpting this little thing from a piece of wax. So start carving and start sculpting with a piece of wax. Then when you have it done, you can send it for the casting to go from the wax to the metal. But yeah, today maybe some people are still making this kind of designs with the traditional wax carving techniques. But that's the reason why I try to select this kind of designs when I am making my streamings, because it's just to try to connect the traditional way of working with the traditional jewelry processes from that who comes from ages, compare with a digital tool as ZBrush, where we can create almost the same or very similar designs. So the brands, the kind of jewelry that you can find today on the shops, I can say maybe 80% or maybe 75 of the design that you are watching on the shops are made with digital tools, with CAD softwares, or with digital tools like ZBrush. It's just a matter to change the tool, because the criteria about the designing process, it's going to be remains the same. So you need the knowledge to know that what you are sculpting on the screen is going to work on reality. It's going to, and not only on reality in terms of successful printings. So in terms of the kind of metal and many things. Baxter, you have a question. Okay, it might be very simple, but hopefully it can be answered. How could I make a round frame with Greek ornaments? I know why they are called in English, but I make the grecas. Okay, I'm gonna show you. ZBrush. As far as I know, what I understand about Greek ornaments, the first thing that comes to my mind, it's you know, the Versace kind of. It is something. It is, I think, it's something more or less something like this, but this with a circular distribution. I think it's something like this. Or maybe it's something. Maybe it is not so simple. Let's see. I already have one brush made for this. Let me check it out, because I don't remember if I am drawing the right shape. I go here to my folder. This one. Yeah. I already create this brush. You can see. I'm gonna show you what this brush does. Is create just the behavior of this brush is with a curved brush. This. Oh, I was drawing it wrong. Yeah, you can see here. It's more like something like yeah, here, yeah, something like this. The only thing that you need is to start creating the base, the mesh, the original mesh, the original shape. For example, I have here different elements. For example, you can start from a cube. Let's start from a cube. Let's make a poly mesh. Before I start, I already have this kind of topology. It will be better to go to initialize and create a cube. So where we have more simple topology, I'm gonna squeeze it on this view. And what can I do? Let's say, okay, now I'm gonna reset the cube again. One by one cube, only one side. Now with this will be better. So now using the C modular, you can go, for example, to this size, to this side. QMS, a single polygon. We can create this. We can create this. Let me find it again. 1, 2, 3. Now we can. It's 1, 2, 3. Okay. So now what we can do is make an extrusion to make more thing here. We can now see modular slide the edge look complete. Now we can make a QMS Now I have Q mesh. Okay, now we need a gap here. Not that much. So I know you are grabbing what I'm doing. So, oops, something like this. For example, something, let's make something similar to don't be here all day. We can grab this, we can make it thinner here. We can grab this, we can make it something like this. I think we are almost there. It's not the same, okay, and it's not exactly the same, but more or less. So what you can do is, once you have the shape, one of the pieces, you can go to brush, create an insert mesh. We want to create a new brush. Now this is the brush. What we can do now is start inserting individual pieces. But if you go to a stroke, curve, and turn on the curve mode, so you're gonna be able to start drawing the shape along a curve. So you can see, let's grab this another orientation. We can go now to come back to brush, create insert mesh. Now I don't want to create a new one. I already have a new one, so let's append it. Okay, so we are still using the curve mode, yes. So we can, it's not exactly what I made, but okay, something similar. So once you have this, you were asking how could you make a round frame. Let's grab, for example, a cylinder now. Let's make a polymesh. Let's group by normals. I'm going to insert a new loop here. I'm gonna freeze this loop, H loop complete. Now once I have this is going to be like a path. So now we go to stroke, current functions, and select this feature, creased edges. I can frame this path. Now if we select any curve brush, I can frame it like this. Or for example, let's use the one I did. Maybe it's gonna looks better. Come on, there you go. So once the workflow is to start first, create the single piece, convert an insert mesh, then go to curve, to stroke, curve mode. So the way that you can have to make the path is with, in this case, it could be a creased edge, or what we can do is, for example, I grab this portion. If I go again to stroke, curve functions, now I can frame the border. So frame here. Now I have a curve. Now I can put and I already have this thing, wrap it around a circular shape. And that's it. Depending on the kind of thing that you need, you can frame the mesh with different ways. You can frame the mesh with the border, with the polygroups, or with creased edges. Once you have the curve, you can apply any curve brush. For example, or you can do this. Let's subdivide this 3 times. Let's grab this. Let's create a regular shape with the mask. Now we can use Control W. So we have, let's create Control W first. Now I only have one polygroup. Let's create crazy shape like this, Control W. Now we have 2 different polygroups. The third option we have polygroups. Now we already have a frame mesh. Oops, I forgot to grab this. Control W again. A stroke frame mesh. Now you can frame the mesh Now ZBrush is telling to me that the mesh is composed by different subdivisional levels, so let's delete them. So now we can. In this case, this kind of shape doesn't work very well because it's very blocky. But you grab, for example, let's see, you go to brushes, beta tester brushes. You have this brush, for example, insert rope. Let's make it bigger. Let's make it even bigger. So now you can apply the rope, or you can apply the stitches. You have here in the stitches brush, right? Yeah. No, not that big. You can apply a stitching on along the curve. So create an insert brush, curve brush, frame the mesh, and fix how to adjust the pieces to they join each other. You can do this. I forgot to tell you this. I make this as a solid piece, but this is not possible to get them connected. Let's see, how can I fix it? Okay, let's try to make things right. So let's put it here, for example. Let's extrude this till the bottom. This, and let's create a new insert, and let's create something like this. Okay, and let's make this a little bit shorter, like this, and let's make this thinner, and this one thinner. This is the good thing about working with low poly meshes, because you can handle the sides on the vertex easily, just grabbing rows. Yeah, more or less. Let's make this one shorter. This, let's make it shorter like this. So once you have this, what you can do now is delete the connection points, or do the joinings or the joints. So we can go to here, delete, where are you? Delete, single poly, delete the beginning and the end. So let's make it with this orientation. It was the right one. So let's come back to B for brush, create insert mesh. Let's create a new one, new, and we already have an insert brush, stroke, curve mode. Now this is what we get, but you can see they are not welded together. You can see here we have a gap between each piece. It's as simple as go to the brush settings. Let's go to the brush settings here. Go into the modifiers here and turn on this weld points. So now once you have this option active, you will get them. ZBrush will weld all of the open edges. That's the reason why I delete the two faces before, because you need an open edge. So ZBrush will recognize which edges should be welded, and you will get one solid piece. Oops, but I have something strange here. Let's see. It's welding. Let's apply more resolution. Oh, I know. Or why is happening this double? No. Let's make it one poly group. Let's make it again. Create insert mesh, new. Stroke, curve mode, weld points. it still happens the same. I don't know what is happening this, because you can see ZBrush is welding. I think it's an issue related to the topology, maybe. Maybe, I don't know. My knowledge don't go so far to know what is happening in this. Is happening something strange with the welding. If I turn this, let's turn off this. No, it's still happening the same. I think it's an issue related to the topology, because if I go to my brush, I made many. My brush is closed, but it's I think it's a matter related to the topology or the distance. Let's, if I push this in like this. If I go, it should be perhaps in the model position. No, I think not for the model position, because if I go to a pen, you can see now it's no, because it's not with the welding. No, because if I rotate the model, if I select this position, if I go to B, insert mesh, let's append a new one, we're gonna get this the wrong orientation. So the previous orientation was good, but there is something strange with the welding. That's the reason why ZBrush is not only welding but stretching the polygons. Maybe if I change the topology, let's see, I have an idea. If I go here, if I create an insert loop here, let's create a new one here, split, let's be insert mesh, append. Now it works without welding. Come on. Yeah. Oh, no. No, it's making the same thing, but with shorter welding. I don't know. I should make some searching about this issue, but welding parts, variations, curve resolution, curve angle. It is not a tri-part brush, but it is default settings. I don't know if I turn this off. I don't know. It's still happening the same. It's still happening the same. I think it's an issue related to the topology. Maybe, I'm sure. And a scale issue, no. And a scale issue, no, because no, it is not a scale issue. Then it's an issue related to the topology, because it's welding the points. It's what I want, weld the point. But if let's grab one of my, this is from my brush. If I select this one, I'm gonna turn the curve mode off. Let's split mass points. Center. Make the same thing. C modular. Delete. B. Create insert mesh. New. Stroke. Curve mode. It works, but I need to weld. I don't know. Weld the points. Stretch, overlaps. I think. Sure, this is a problem related to the. Okay, because the curve resolution not important. Maybe the strength that ZBrush is applied to the welding, it's too much. That's the reason why maybe it's welding, because we try to weld or to join four vertex, 4 points to the next 4 points. Let's see if let's split this. If I split this, this. Let's see what happened now. Like this. Let's select this one, for example. B, create insert mesh. Now it's working without. And now, yeah, now it works. And I was sure that it was a problem related to the topology. Maybe with the topology so simple, wasn't possible to weld it, but now I can. And if I increase the curve resolution, I will be able to create more crazy things like this, where I have all of the pieces completely welded. Now it works. I found the solution. Try a bigger brush size to draw it out. Maybe the weld distance is too small. Yeah, the weld distance, you can control this. For example, if you go to stroke and you go the stepping, now it's 1. So that means that the curve, it's going to be 1 step, 1, 1, 1. So if we adjust the steps, no, sub steps, no, the steps a little bit bigger, 1.2, for example. I'm gonna get more distance between each piece, but it doesn't affect to the welding settings. So as you can see, it's a matter of topology. So once I split the topology into adding 2 more points, now it works. If I go now to where is my cylinder here? The cylinder, I was playing with it before. Let's undo it. If I repeat the same as before, creased, edge loop complete, and now I can grab this one before I need to frame the mesh, of course. So curve, there you go, and all of them completely welded. And if I go from 1.2 to 0.8, I can have a better repetitive, and that's it. I think this is what we call, you name it before, Grecas. Yes, it's Greca. It's Greek. Yeah, I don't know. I don't find now the name in Spanish. Even in Spanish, it's yeah, kind of Greca. It's a good name, I think. So. The greatest winning all these words. I was fighting with that against the topology. So that's it. So this is the key, the weld points. When you are creating an insert brush, and you leave you make the mesh open, you're gonna be able to weld the different instances of along the curve with this feature, with weld points feature. The curve resolution is related to how you need to bend the curve. As more complex forms, higher curve resolution. And the same thing about the bend angle. If you are trying to create a very bending corners, or very bended corners, or very close corners, it's going to be better to go from 45 to 90 degrees to get better results. That's it. Okay, I already have the feathers. Let's go for another thing. I'm going to, the other day I was making this part with another technique. I'm gonna use today another technique. Yes, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna duplicate this. I'm gonna remove the ending, I mentioned this before, so you know that you can use the sculptors to destroy things. You can start destroying. Let's use another with a smooth brush. It's like when you are using a file or a sanding paper, you can destroy. And now to keep the topology clean and regular, you can series measure. And now I have this. And now what I'm going to do is from here, I'm going to remove this one. No, I'm going to hide it at the moment. No, I'm going to use this as a base mesh. I'm going to grab another method that you can use using curves, framing the mesh. You can use this brush. We can call it like a freestyle or freehand way of apply curves before you use a curve brush. You can use this brush, series measure guides. For example, what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna paint a brush. I'm gonna draw a curve here, like this. And once you have the curve, you can grab any of the curve brushes. In this case, I'm gonna use this one, curve tube snap. Let's make it smaller and taping on the curve. You're gonna have a new piece of geometry. If you are not happy with the curve because your freehand abilities they're not very good, remember that you can use the number 6 from your keyboard to start relaxing the curve like this. You can see I'm gonna undo it. You're going to see here the effect with the 6. Now the curve is more precise. Now you can update the curve. You can use the number 6, update the curve, and you're gonna get a better path. Split mask points. I have this piece. I'm gonna remove this one. Yeah, I'm going to use to start this. I'm going to, I'm gonna mask this ending, blur the mask, and just closed like this, and that's out. Let's fix. This is another good way to use the topological feature. You can see here when I am touching here, I am also affecting this part of the mesh. If I turn this on, I don't care about what is behind because I just focus it about what I want to fix. So this is a feature you can see that I use very often, topological feature. Very useful. What I want to create now, you can see now this profile. What I want to create now is I have now this thickness and I want to create it this thick. So I want to go from this till here, till the bottom. What I can do is the fast way of do this, you can, for example, grab the move infinitive. Now it's topological, it's not going to be necessary. What we can do is turn on the backface mask, big brush size, and now we can push it back. But you can see now the topology, yeah, good work, but it's not clean enough. What I can do, I prefer, I'm gonna change the topology before doing anything. No, let's click on double. What we can do is using this feature about making polygroups, group front. If once I click on this button, where I have 2 different polygroups based on the camera angle, I'm gonna repeat it. So if I put it, this is going to be the front view, group front, and I have 2 polygroups. What I do is select the back polygroup, and I'm gonna create a loop on the border. As I am working with a very low resolution mesh, I prefer to turn this on crisp means that I'm going to create a very thin loop on the border. So let's create H loop. If I zoom in, you're going to see it. You can see when it's appear. Now here I have the loop. So what I can do now is control mask, invert the mask, and again. Now I have 3 different polygroups: the front polygroup, the back polygroup, and the loop I created using this feature. H loop, you will find this button here, H loop, crisp, and H loop. So once I have this, I can make it bigger, for example, make it bigger if necessary. And I can, for example, change topology, keeping the groups, zero measure, keeping groups, zero measure. Let's relax the mesh a little bit. Okay. I'm gonna fix this. Let's make it thicker. Let's make it thinner. Oops, I don't need that. What I can do now is to clip this upper part, and now I start getting the shape I want. So I'm gonna add this the double profile because it has one here, another. I still have to create the one who goes on this side. What I can do, I can use the framing options I was using before. In this case, group from is going to be handy. Have let's see. Now I think the group front is not a good option because it is sending the polygroup to the back group front. Now I have here the limits, and I want to the polygroups here. So in this case, it's going to be better to use the slice curve brush. Let's just slide it like this. Now I have they have almost the same color. Let's now we can see it more clear. So I can go now to stroke, curve functions, polygroup, frame mesh, and I can curve to snap, for example. And now I have this split mask points. I only need one portion of the whole thing. What I can do is let's I'm gonna get rid of this part, and I'm gonna mask the bottom part like this. Part, hide, delete hidden, close holes, and I have this. Let's create a new topology, double, polish, double, polish. Now I am starting getting what I want. This should go, where are you? Yep. So it should go a little bit more on top, on front. Sometimes instead of try to sculpt almost everything, of course we are using a sculpting software, but maybe in my opinion it's much better to, or you have cleaner shapes, making things like I'm doing, stacking little pieces of geometry and manage them as individual elements, because now you're going to be able to play with them with more freedom, instead of always using the same surface to start trying to start a sculpt all of the elements. So I prefer to start stacking, like working like a puzzle when you're with like a Lego or with a maquette. I'm gonna grab this. Hey, good evening for you too. Welcome. I need to drink. Hey, hello from India. Hey, very far from here. Greetings from Spain. So I'm gonna grab this piece. It is just a simple tube. I'm gonna select the ending, blur mask. I'm gonna use the gizmo. I think that you already know the new way that we have to control the gizmo. This is going to becomes very handy when we are creating stuff like this, scrolls and curves. You know that you can start playing with the focal shift. Now by default the gizmo has less, minus 100. If I go to 0, I'm gonna be able to start changing the focal shift. You can see the effect I am creating. But if we go over, we can, in this case at the maximum is not good. Almost the maximum, not that much. 90, you can see how easy it is to start creating new shapes. As I'm trying to bend this piece that has the polygon so big, if we want to create better defined shapes or softer shapes, it's a good idea to change the topology first. So once we have more polygons and the distribution is more homogeneous, I can start playing and I start creating this kind of things. Let's go for, let's say, gonna make a duplicate of this one. Duplicate. Now it's not necessary to keep, because I am trying to move the piece, but as I am using this setting, this value for the focal shift, it doesn't work. I have to go back, and now I can put it here as I did before. Let's get rid of this piece from this to here using the sculptress. Goodbye. Like this. Let's remove this as well. I have a necessary piece of material. Now I can change the topology. I can apply some polishing. Now I can squeeze it to try to make it like this. And now I can come back to the gizmo and start adding. The position of the gizmo is going to be very important, and the value of the focal shift. And not only because I am rotating, I'm using the white wheel or white circle now. And even if you grab this, if I put it here, I can put it here, and this is it's crazy, the new way of create this kind of things. Different things, like things becomes very flexible, where you can bending things, applying different curves, and with a very easy way of do it. So the only bad thing is you should be all the time playing around with the values, because if you're happy with this, but you need to I never find the right pull it back or pull it down or push it down, I don't know. So, but you know what I mean. So you can go to minus 100. So you should be playing around during the whole process with different values. But okay, so there you go. So what I can do is, let's make it a little bit thinner with the focal. I'm gonna store morph target. Let's make it thinner. And now with the morph brush, I'm gonna. What? I recorded before. No. It's what I did wrong. Delete, store. Now I already have the morph target. No, doesn't work. Okay, no problem. I'm gonna use the inflate brush. Oh, because I was using the sculptors. Could be. Oh yeah, because I had the sculptors pro active. So this is the way I used to work. So I start stacking, putting different elements. So I can use this same element here, making a copy, duplicate. Let's put it here. And I can go with the gizmo with more values and start. The position of the gizmo is very important. Yeah. Make it thicker. Back face. Now it's time to come back to the minus 100, reset orientation, put it down, and I start creating the things I want. No questions? Okay. Let's follow. So I can select this, H polish to start polishing. If you want to make this, well, I can use the clip brush because it's completely horizontal. I can clip it. That's it. Yep, it works. Academic Phoenix Plus, you're a big fan of my work. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. Yeah, I love to provide this content or to be here sharing with you what I am doing, trying to give you a different approach of make things, or at least my way of working. This is the main purpose about these streamings. You can see you can find many different streamers making different stuff, each of them with their own way of working, and it's very good way to learn from different points of view. It don't mean that you are making things right or wrong. It's just a matter of find your way to do the things. This is one of the things that I love about ZBrush, because it is not just to learn one way of do the things. There are many ways to do the same thing. And the good thing about this streamings is you are able to see many different ways. So split back point. So I'm not saying that you can do the things right or wrong. So there are many ways to do the same thing, or more or less the same thing. Let's use the same bend arc to start bending this. To start changing, not that much. Like this. Let's use the taper. Like this. So now we have something similar. Now it's time to add thickness. Move infinitive, back face. Yep. Now we have a piece of material. So even if I am making so simple shape like this one, I prefer to sculpt it with different elements instead of sculpting, or at least at this moment. Of course, at any time it's going to be necessary to start sculpting, but what we can do is using the gizmo, as I did before with the feathers. Let's go to control, drag a small, this, change the orientation, and start adding a new shape. because at any time we will be able to start merging things together using booleans or using dynames. But now with this method I can decide, for example, this part is too big compared with this one, I want to make this part smaller. So if you have them as an individual pieces, you can start playing with them till getting what you are looking for. If not, it's gonna be much more complex if you want to fix things from a single piece of geometry. That's my mentality. Now I'm using the topological. You can see you can play with them as an individual pieces. I think this should be go here. This is a little bit no. This, I need more polygons here. More. Now I can start smoothing this part to make it thinner. And this one should go. Are you looking for the Maxon presentation? What Maxon presentation? I'm not up to date to the next presentations. I have heard about something, but I'm not sure about what you're talking about. Would you encourage artists to go to conventions? Yes, could be helpful. My experience, I haven't been in too many conventions, but all of the ways that you have to meet people or to talk about with professionals or with more people about what you are doing or about what you would like to create, it's interesting for you. You are learning something different. Yeah, really. Yeah, I think I have I have the feeling that the knowledge that I have about ZBrush is not very big, because I have the feeling that I'm always repeating the same thing. So I have my experience, the knowledge is based on what my clients are requesting to me. So maybe, as I said before, it's just a matter of you are watching another way of working instead of watching new things. I don't know. I'm gonna make it this thicker. Like this. And let's grab the clay build-up to start making this kind of lip shape. I am still, you can see I am still using a very low resolution mesh. What I can do now here is going to use another curved tube snap to start adding a little branch here. Let's keep them together on the same tool. And I can hue this. Let's remeasure, polish. Now it's time to use the move infinitive to push this in. And I will be going to the ZBrush Summit this year. I will love it. I would love to go there. Okay, I will. Let's see. Maybe it's going to be a bit expensive flight, maybe on the hotel and so on. But I would love to go there one day. Maybe I'm not sure. Maybe this year, maybe 1 year. I will try to go there because to meet people, as I said before. I have you seen yesterday ZBrush? Yeah, not yet, but I'm a big fan of his work. I already know it uh, many months ago, and it's impressive what he does. Yeah, you could use what he did on this exact piece, really, just to have some fun with it. Yeah, I will, I will, but I want to see it very concentrated about what he's explaining, because I want to learn his technique about what the how the hell he is making so amazing animation with ZBrush, because that kind of clay looking animation are amazing. I'm sure you have talked about this before, but could you let us know how to you started in jewelry making? It's so fascinating that you can make. Yeah, okay. And as I said before, we can put a name on something. Now we are talking about jewelry designs or jewelry industry or jewelry making industry. But if we think about 3D printing, there are many different industries related for where 3D printing is it's a very big part of the process. One of them is the jewelry industry, but you can start making coins, for example, or medals, or I don't know, or religious stuff, or churches, and cathedrals. There are many different industries and many different jobs where ZBrush fits with its capabilities about digital sculpting. So I started many years ago, maybe from now, maybe 8 years ago, just meeting the right persons, because and I changed what I was doing before, creating monster critters and illustration, and then I start learning about how to use ZBrush to create jewelry designs or to start sculpting what the new client, were requesting to me to start creating reliefs or ring designs and so on. It's just a matter of being focused about something. And even if you are going to be able to find something new or something different, it will give you more possibilities to find more jobs or start getting a new or famous or more focused about any another new field and another new industry. It looks like it is new, but as I said before, already exist many different industries where ZBrush is necessary. Let's make it this. I'm going to use this number 6. No, it doesn't work. Okay, no problem. Like this. Let's make it longer. Because I'm just sculpting. It doesn't matter if you are creating a piece of jewelry or a figure or a collectible or a scale model. So maybe more or less the way of working is almost the same. The only thing that you should know, you should learn, is the requirements that the industry has for making a good product. It's not just a matter of create beautiful designs or complex designs. So the design should be easy to wear, should be cheap to manufacture and cheap to sell, for example. There are many different aspects, and you should learn that with your experience, and your experience should be based on the knowledge that you should take during your learning process. Oh, let's turn off now the topology go. Okay, let's jump to another place, because this part of the design it has many different elements. Yeah, of course, Widow, of course, but it's kind of expensive. You can join his Discord for free, yeah. did you guys know class about it? Let me. I have lost some of your questions. I'm sure that. How do you guys know of class at the beginning? I know nothing about the software, but I bought it already. I already want to get it. Yeah, I think Omar Salas. Maybe you can. It's gonna be very easy to find tutorials on courses. Very cheap courses about getting started with ZBrush. Once you have the basics of ZBrush, how ZBrush works, now it's just a matter to stay focused about what you want or what you need to sculpt. Don't try to learn ZBrush from the beginning till the end. So just stay focused about what you need, on what you need to create, or what you need to design, or what you need to sell, and start developing your own way of working. From that, you can start learning new things, but at the beginning, maybe the best way is start focusing about shorter things instead of trying to learn the whole thing at the beginning. That's great. Yeah, you're welcome. How do you know the right way to do a detail or a model? Goldie Ames, how do I know the right way to do a detail or model? Just by looking the ref. Yeah, that's a good question. Maybe the sculpting skills and the drawing skills, in my opinion, it's a matter of observation. If you are able to recognize what you are watching, you're gonna be able to translate what you are watching on a 3D piece or on a 2D drawing. It's just a matter to start training your eye and start reading the behavior of the light and the shadows to recognize the shapes of the forms, how big, how short, the proportions between each other, and that's it. It's just a matter of start training your eye. And of course, now I'm not trying to make an exact replica. I'm trying to translate what I see, what I like on my design, because at any point I'm gonna try to make something different. But for you, when I am making this kind of streamings, it's much better, it's more useful from my point of view, if you have a reference and you are watching how I am doing that reference. So you are learning how to do things. So you don't know to know what I have in my mind. So you know what I am doing. That's the reason why I try to always put a real reference during my courses or my streaming. I thought very interesting. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. That's a good point. How much do you charge for a piece like this brush? Depends. Maybe depends of the client, of the market, depends of different things, because each of you should have your own way to charge. So it's not the same charging at the beginning of your career that charging at the middle or at the end of the career, or maybe not the end, but when you are higher, you are putting more value to your design. So it's hard to say so much. Okay, now it's time to leave. I think now we have been here talking. I'm sculpting during 2 hours. I'm gonna save this, of course. Save it. And I'm really glad that you have been here watching me, asking questions, making comments. Has been very interesting. And hopefully I'm going to be here next Wednesday. Next Wednesday is still April. Yeah, this is the 20th. The 20th. 20. Wednesday 20. Well, only 1 week later. So I will be here again working on this design. I'm gonna try to make more progress on my own, just to try to explain you more things. One interesting part of the process is going to be how to find solutions for the backside and start sculpting the head, for example, another different thing where we can do, because about this part of the design is going to be repetitive. Start stacking different elements, pieces, curved tube, primitive, start making different elements. Maybe it's going to be interesting how to detail the feathers. And the most interesting thing from my point of view is going to be how to fix and how to find a good solution for the backside. And of course, how to make the basket for the stone setting. Not sure what I'm gonna do. Maybe what kind of stone setting I'm gonna use. Maybe a bezel. It's going to be much better than this kind of stone setting, but okay. I should talk about my jeweler friends to know which is going to be the best way to find a solution for the stone setting. So we'll see you here next Wednesday. And thank you, Baxter, to you. I'm gonna start making my fans club about the Nachista clubs. Fans, yeah, I don't like it. So I will see you here next Wednesday. Okay. Before I forget it, I'm gonna attach my link tree to the chats. Here you will find my work on my website, my ArtStation profile, my YouTube channel, my Instagram, my Facebook page related for jewelry design, my Facebook page related for general art, my Behance, DeviantArt, LinkedIn, Pinterest, Patreon. You will find me everywhere with this bunch of links. I'm gonna copy and paste it on the chat. If you are more interested, you are still interested on my job. So, and we'll see you next Wednesday. Hope you have a great weekend, a great Thursday and Friday, and I hope it has been interesting for you enough for being here 1 week after. So take care and see you soon. Bye, everybody.